Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a card using the Altenew Craft A Flower for this month. Now I say this month because every month Altenew comes out with a new one, and you can get this die set, it's a layering die set, in a subscription. And I'll link that down below. But you don't have to. It's sold separately in the store also. So this month's layering die set is called Daffodil, and it creates a beautiful daffodil. Now for me, there are pretty much a wide range of colors of daffodils, but we're going to use some gradient cardstock sets from Altenew. Altenew has lots of different sets, including a yellow one that would go perfect for this daffodil, but I wanted to go for a monochromatic encouragement card today. So we're going to keep it elegant and subtle for my project, and we're going to use some browns. This is the coffee break gradient cardstock set. There's 4 colors in here. You have sand dune, you have rocky shore, the third color is mocha, and then the darkest is espresso. So I think this makes a great, I've created flowers using neutral tones before, but not really browns. So I thought kind of challenge myself to create an elegant soft card. And this would be great for a sympathy card too. So to complete my die cutting, I'm going to bring in some white cardstock and also some ivory cardstock. For my card base, I'm going to create an ivory card base, and so I think adding ivory in there just going to bring it all together. Taking the largest die from the set and then the second largest and die cutting these out. The largest with white cardstock, the second largest with the ivory. I zoomed in a little bit better so you could see. And then we're just going to continue down. Now the packaging does have like a layering guide, and that's what I'm using. So my third layer will be with my lightest color in the coffee break gradient cardstock set, and then I want to continue on. The rocky shore, which is the second from the lightest, I'm going to die cut out the flower center with that also. And then the last color, this is actually the second to the last flower for the flower center. I'm using the darkest color. We have one more piece for the flower center, and it works out perfect because I wanted to bring in some black cardstock. So we'll die cut out our very last, the stamen piece, with black. We're going to do the same thing with our flower leaves. And I encourage you guys to try this out because flowers just don't necessarily have to be green leaves and yellow flowers. You could really create some stunning cards using different colored cardstocks. Now I'm skipping the rocky shore color for my leaves. The leaves are a 3-layered leaf, so we need to, I'm going with the 2 darkest and then the very lightest in this coffee break set. So I'm going to skip the die cutting for you guys, and so we have it all ready to go to create our flower. Now this set only creates 1 daffodil with 2 leaves and a stem, but the daffodil is so pretty, and when the stem and the leaves are separated, you can kind of arrange them however you want. This is actually would be great for a mini slimline card or a regular size slimline, because you know daffodils have the long stem. So we're going to begin our layering. I'm adding glue behind my second layer. Which is the ivory cardstock. We're going to layer it on the white. Now I chose ivory for the second layer because the white, there's only a few areas peeking through, and I really wanted the ivory to, the warmness of the ivory to be my base basically. I'm adding my third layer. And then this third layer is again the lightest color in the gradient cardstock set, and you can see how it's coming along. Next we'll do our fourth layer. Fourth layer is basically 1 die that will cut out 5 of the very edges of our flower petals. So sometimes it's easier to just add glue to the edges of the flower petals and then pick it up with our jewel picker and layer them. Once we have all 5 corners added, and I have my layering guide right next to me, and it's helpful too if your flower is in the same position as the flower on your layering guide. It just makes it so easy. Okay, so that's our flower petal. Now we have the cut part of our daffodil. I'm going to go ahead and add my mocha color to my rocky shore here, layering these together. And I like that it's solid but yet separated, because I like dimension in mine, and you're able to pop this flower center up. Now there's 2 more pieces to this flower center, and I'm going to add our darkest brown on the very base, and then our stamen piece is the one we die cut out with black. We're going to add a little glue just above that, and then add our stamen. And that's it. Pretty easy for all the layering. And if you wanted to do multiples, you very well could. So that's our cut portion of our flower. I'm going to go ahead and grab a foam square while I have this done and layer it. Put it right behind our flower center, our little... I always thought daffodils looked like teacups. Maybe that's why I like them so much. Okay, and then our flower is good to go with a little bit of dimension. Okay, now we have the leaves. Again, the leaves are 3, there's 2 leaves, and then there are 3 layers each. So I like to position, again, my leaves in the same position that's on our layering guide. It just makes it way easier when you're gluing. Now, I happen to be using glue to layer these together, but Altenew does have some adhesive sheets that work perfect for your craft of flowers. Or if you have a Xyron sticker maker, you could use those too. But glue, it doesn't bother me. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue behind each of my layers, and we'll do this. Either or. Sometimes I do all the Xyron. Sometimes I'll do the sticker sheet. But today we're going to use some glue. Layering the leaves is pretty easy. The ends of the leaves are pretty pointed, so you can just kind of use your nails maybe to line them up. And I'll do the second layer of our larger leaf. And then this is going to go layered. And you can see how long they are. I did die cut out the stem with the mocha cardstock. So that's ready to go too. And you can extend the stem too. You can die cut out 2 for your sunline cards and layer them together. Just cover the seam when you join them together with your leaf. And then we're going to add our 3rd layer, which is with our darkest espresso color. And we are good to go. I'm going to add a little glue to the top of my stem and adhere our flower base. And I'm only going to add 1 leaf to my flower. I'm going to add this to my sentiment panel, and I wasn't sure where I want my sentiment go, and I didn't want the leaf, I didn't want to work around the leaves of my flower. I wanted to be able to work around my sentiment. So we're just going to add our largest leaf to the left here. Okay, now I didn't line up the bottom, you can see here, to the bottom of the stem, but we're going to end up trimming that off. So that's why I wasn't particular on lining it up or putting it behind the stem. Now for my background, we're going to bring in the grid cover plate die. This creates real fun grid lines. This is such a nice die set because you can trim it down to however you want. I also went through my cardstock stash and found a piece of cardstock that was pretty close to the espresso. I trimmed that panel down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. This way I have a little bit of a white border on my card base when we adhere this. This is going to go in the center of a top folding A2 size card base. Once we have this adhered, I'm going to add adhesive behind my die cut piece, and we're going to place this on our card front but at an angle, just so the bottom and then the right side are overhanging, just for a little added interest. I'm going to flip it over and trim off the excess. Now this cover, the grid cover die is exactly 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So since we have this strip on the bottom that's that same 4 1/4 inch wide, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. And then the very top where we cut it, I want to put a thin strip of brown cardstock. Just adds a little something extra. Again, I'm using an ivory card base for my cards today. This way the grid is white, so you can see the different color combos going on here. It kind of really coordinates with our flower. Next, I wanted to add my sentiment, and I didn't want to just use a plain rectangle, so I thought we would bring in the Altenew Creative Edges notebook die. We're going to create a little notebook page. and I wanted the trim to be on the right side. So I just die cut this out and trimmed it down. I trimmed it down to a 3 by 4 inch notebook page, basically. I wanted the flower to go along the left edge of my notebook page, so we're going to add some adhesive. It's going to overhang on the top, which I like, and some of the leaf is going to overhang on the left. I'm going to bring it over here on the grid so you can see it a little bit better. Kind of scoot over my leaf so it's not hanging off. And it worked out really nice, just the way, the curve of it on my little notebook page. Okay, now we're going to bring in our sentiment. I'm going to trim off this end here. For my sentiment, again, I wanted to make it an encouragement card, which very well could be a sympathy card also. I'm using this Altenew block sentiment stamp set. This is a huge 6 by 8 stamp set. I use this lots, but I like the sentiments in here. There's so much goodness in here. I chose the sentiment that says, challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes them meaningful. And I thought that'd be really pretty for this type of card. I kind of centered it on the bottom there, and then we're going to ink this up with our black ink. This is Altenew's Jet Black, and it worked out perfect because we have that black flower center, and it kind of really tied everything together. After we have our sentiment stamped, we're going to take this out of our stamp positioner here, and then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to use some Altenew foam adhesive to pop this panel up, and we're just going to fill in our background. This is Altenew's foam tape. It actually works pretty fabulous. The release paper releases from the foam adhesive very nicely, and it's like the perfect thickness. I'm going to add 3 strips, and then we'll place this. This is going to go straight up and down in the middle of our card. Once we have this centered, all we have to do is add a few bells and whistles and our last leaf here. I'm just going to use my tape runner and add this over the stem. You can see this is why I added this last, so I can kind of curve it around the sentiment. It's kind of easier for placement. I'll trim off the excess of that leaf, and I'm going to bring in some gold gems, just a few of them, keeping it nice and elegant. And then that finishes off my card today. My card today is actually part of a blog hop that Altenew is having, celebrating their craft flower daffodil layering die set this month. I encourage you guys to join in our blog hop. You're going to get really inspired, and there's lots of daffodils going on and lots of inspiration, and I know you'll have fun, so I hope you can join us. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you guys just a lovely day, and we will see you again real soon, guys. Bye-bye.